Right now at noon, questions are on the rise about ICE operations in Knox County. We'll break down how many people are behind bars on ICE holds, where they're from, and how your tax dollars come into play.
Well, it is a dismal day today. Very gray and still soggy in many respects, but it should improve before the day is over with. However, more wet weather's around the corner, and your forecast to come in a few minutes.
Plus, a new documentary highlighting a space for Knoxville artists is dropping today. At 12:45, an exclusive interview about the filmmaking process with UT students and the impact this film could have.
10 News is sponsored by Quality Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Hello everyone, and thanks for watching 10 News at noon. I'm Ellis Rold. Katie Inman has the day off. I'm joined by Mike Simon today, and we want to get a check of the forecast. Mike, we might have to say goodbye to those warmer temperatures for just a little bit.
That's right. We get to enjoy it for another day or two before we start to notice conditions getting more wintry-like once again. I know we've had sort of a fall spring here, as we did last week, with a couple of warm spells, but we are going to have some change on the way. Of course, today, it's just sloppy, isn't it? We've had about 1/4 inch of rain officially at the airport, at least close to that. The winds out of the southwest has been gusty. It's 10 miles an hour at the moment, and we have 63 for our current temperature. We were up to around 66, 67 last hour, but now since the rain has moved in, it's dropped a little bit. Wind is gusty to 25, maybe even up to 30 miles an hour at times, especially in the southern valley. That's where the wind seems to be the strongest and back over the plateau. Most of our temperatures have made it into the 60s, still have some lagging behind in the 50s, 59 Oak Ridge, Morristown 2, Athens, one of the warm spots at 66. The rain moving through in small batches. We have another one that's moving right through Knox County toward the northeast, so you're going to have some more light rain before it tapers off. The next 3 days, yes, more rain coming up on Friday and into Saturday especially. We should see the end of that though this weekend. That's when cold temperatures filter in. More about that with your 7-day forecast on the way.
All right, Mike, thank you. New at noon, a judge accepted a plea for a former Blount County teacher and track coach charged with sex crimes against children. A judge accepted the plea deal from Shane Ruiz Wednesday. That deal reduces the charges to 3 counts of exploitation of a minor by electronic means. The former Heritage High School teacher was originally charged with 2 counts of continuous sexual abuse of a child, trafficking for a commercial sex act, 3 counts of exploitation of a minor by electronic means, along with sexual exploitation of a minor. If he pleads guilty, he will service 3 years in prison and then 10 years on probation, according to documents. The Blount County Sheriff's Office began investigating the former teacher in 2024 after 2 girls reported he contacted them with inappropriate comments. Well, new data is raising questions about immigration detention numbers in Knox County. While a UT researcher reports more than 3,400 ICE detainees came through the Knox County jail last year, the Knox County Sheriff's Office is reporting less than a third of that. For weeks now, I've been digging into immigration data, working to get a clear picture of who is being arrested by ICE and coming through the Knox County jail. The numbers we've gotten just don't match, and that's where our reporting starts. In a 10 Investigates, I break down why those numbers may be different and what jail records reveal about the people behind bars. The Knox County Jail isn't just a local lockup. It's also a holding site for federal immigration detainees.
What we have is more of a largely invisible framework by which state and local law enforcement authorities collaborate with ICE and, in fact, turn people over to ICE.
UT professor Megan Conley has studied immigration for years. Her research says in 2024, 821 people were held in the Knox County Jail as ICE detainees. In 2025, her figures show that number jumped to 3,470.
What we've seen is a dramatic increase in the last year, especially in terms of numbers of people who are being held in the Knox County Jail on suspicion of immigration violations.
We wanted to get data straight from the Knox County Sheriff's Office, too. They say in 2025, 964 people were held in the Knox County Jail as ICE detainees. That's less than a third of Conley's data set, 3,470. KCSO's data says those 964 detainees were born in 39 different countries. About 30% had their birthplace listed as Mexico. About 20% Guatemala, about 20% Honduras, about 8% Venezuela, and about 5% were left blank. The remaining 17% or so were from a variety of different countries. The data also says people were held on average for 3.4 days. The Knox County Jail is able to hold detainees for ICE and conduct immigration investigations because they have what's referred to as a 287G contract with the federal government.
Immigration policy is considered civil in nature. It is not criminal in nature. So what 287G does is it allows those law enforcement officers who've been deputized with that authority to investigate people on charges of violating immigration law.
There are two ways someone could be held as an immigration detainee in Knox County. Some are arrested by federal agents and brought in directly under the bed contract. In that agreement, ICE pays a local jail to house immigration detainees. Those detainees can be detained during ICE raids or after someone has served their time or been found not guilty of a past criminal charge. Instead of being released, they're kept in custody on an immigration hold. The second way, a person goes to jail on local charges. During the standard booking process, their fingerprints are run through federal databases. That alerts immigration authorities. Conley's data says 3,070 detainees were held under the bed contract in 2025. 400 people first entered the jail on local charges, then remained in jail on an immigration hold. We don't yet know the split for the data KCSO gave us, but behind the numbers is a larger picture. A local jail playing a growing role in federal immigration detention. And we're also working to find out how much ICE operations are costing taxpayers here in Knox County. It costs about $140 per day to house any inmate at the county jail, and the ICE reimbursement rate that they pay to KCSO ranges from $83 to $114. So that's a gap that Knox County has to fill, and we're waiting to hear back from them about where that money comes from. We are also still waiting for a response from the sheriff's office as to why they think those two data sets are so different. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. In Middle Tennessee, there's been confusion and speculation about an ICE detention center moving to the area. Earlier this week, our sister station in Nashville reached out to ICE asking about the rumors. An ICE spokesperson said the agency would not confirm office locations for the safety of their employees. But on Tuesday, another spokesperson confirmed ICE purchased a facility in Lebanon, Tennessee. The same person said the facility and its construction is expected to bring more than 7,000 jobs to the area. But elected officials in Middle Tennessee told our sister station they hadn't heard anything about the facility and couldn't find any evidence of ICE buying one. After reaching out again, ICE sent this statement saying ICE has not purchased a facility in Lebanon, Tennessee. That statement was sent without proper approval, and this mistake has since been rectified. Despite the statement, hundreds packed a county commission meeting in Middle Tennessee to make their voices heard to county leaders.
I'm the daughter of a Vietnam combat veteran who fought during the Tet Offensive. He paid the rest of his life in Agent Orange and PTSD. And this is not what my father fought for. It's not what he would stand for.
I feel much safer with undocumented immigrants than I ever will with ICE agents. They are not welcome in my community.
Now again, ICE officials did confirm the facility and construction will not happen in Lebanon, Tennessee. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, is stopping all employee travel. The Department of Homeland Security issued the order because of the partial government shutdown and how it's affecting funding. Any workers who are already traveling for work can stay, but no new employees can travel. Deployed employees also can't go home until their projects are complete. Leaders with the agency say it's confusing because they're not funded by the budget that's currently stalled in Congress and are mostly covered by a separate disaster relief fund. The shutdown comes as leaders with the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency say FEMA has granted even more assistance to 7 Middle Tennessee counties after last month's ice storm. These counties should get assistance with debris removal and disposal if they pose a public safety threat. That's more help than what they were set to receive before, which would have only covered emergency protective measures. We are continuing coverage today. A man pleaded not guilty to shooting 2 Blount County deputies, killing one and wounding the other. The lead prosecutor says he's seeking the death penalty for Kenneth Wayne DeHart Jr. This case dates back 2 years, centering around a confrontation during a traffic stop. Deputy Greg McCowan died in the shooting and Deputy Shelby Eggers was wounded. Earlier this month, a Blount County grand jury indicted DeHart on 21 charges, including first-degree premeditated murder. This is his second arraignment hearing after a judge threw out his first case, allowing him a redo. DeHart is scheduled for a bond hearing in April. Friends and family of a 20-year-old man are demanding justice after they say he was shot and killed in his sleep. Caleb Puertas was killed last November, and the autopsy report shows the 20-year-old died of a gunshot wound to the head, and it's been classified as a homicide. But authorities have yet to file charges, and his parents are asking for justice.
I watched my son die. We held his hand. We kissed his hands. We kissed his feet. I don't think that we will have peace as parents until we know we've done everything we can. But we feel very powerless. We pray for justice.
10 News reached out to the Knox County Sheriff's Office for the incident report, but we haven't heard back yet. We also reached out to the District Attorney's Office, and we were told they don't comment on pending investigations being conducted by local law enforcement. More money could be on the way to help with the backlog of transportation projects across the state. Senators in the Transportation and Safety Committee passed a bill to address that problem. That backlog of projects totals nearly $50 billion. The state operates on a pay-as-you-go type system, meaning the state does not take on debt for these types of projects. So if the money is not there, the project doesn't start. The bill passed in a Senate committee that aims to address the limited transportation budget. It requires 95% of tax revenue from the sale of new or used tires and vehicles to go to the highway fund. The rest of the money would go to local governments.
This matters, Madam Chair, you know better than any. It directs a larger share of our motor vehicle and tire tax revenues to our highway fund so that we can invest in our bridges, the maintenance of our roads, our transportation projects. The change aligns tax revenue streams more directly with transportation funding without raising taxes.
State leaders estimate this bill would raise more than $800 million in the next fiscal year and more than $1 billion the following year. The bill now moves to the Senate Finance Ways and Means Committee. Well, we want to get another check of the forecast. Mike, we're going to see some pretty nice weather today and tomorrow before we see some raindrops and some colder temps.
Yes, Alice, we are going to improve a little later on today. I know right now it looks very gloomy. We continue to have overcast conditions and some breezes at times too. Here's Douglas Lake, and it's a pretty scene. Not anybody out fishing. Of course, it's still a little soggy in places. 63 degrees, our current temperature. We're at 60 for a dew point, and we have 90% humidity. That wind's out of the southwest at about 8, but it has been gusty in some cases. Temperatures all around are generally in the 60s now. Sweetwater's warmed up to 68 since the last reading, so they're the warmest spot. Most of us, though, are closer to the lower to middle 60s, and we should top out just a little bit above that later on this afternoon. Observe rainfall. It varies widely. At the airport, got about 1/4 inch. Mainly, we had a good swath northward from Oak Ridge, stretching all the way up to Rogersville, where we got anywhere between 1/2 inch to as much as 1.75 inches. Still a little bit more rain coming in from the southwest, but it should be coming to an end here very soon, and we'll get some glimpses of sunshine as we heat into the 70s by later on today. I'll be back to let you know about more rain and how the weekend turns out. That's coming up.
All right, Mike, thank you. Also coming up, lawmakers are putting millions into preventing teen vaping, and the money is coming from a massive e-cigarette company. We'll break down that deal. Plus, rezoning problems at one school may force students to move to another school. How parents are pushing back, that's after the break.
Well, I hope you had the rain gear with you today. You need the umbrella, especially through the Central Valley and also back over the plateau and north of there. Gatlinburg is showing overcast skies, a little bit of light coming through those clouds, but not much. We'll see a little sunshine, hopefully, before the sun does set. 63 degrees, our current temperature. We made it up to around 66 at times. Some of us were a little warmer than that, but then falls back because of the rain. We have a southwest breeze at about 8 to 10 miles an hour, dew point 60, 90% humidity. So it is a bit sticky today. We also have some gloomy conditions and breezy conditions too, especially across the Southern Valley, Central Valley, and back over the plateau. It is going to invade in some of the higher elevations, already noticing some gusts. It starts for wind advisory tonight at about 7 o'clock this evening, goes through Friday 1 o'clock in the afternoon for the high elevations of the Smokies. Wind could get up to 45 miles per hour at times. We do have batches of rain just training over some of the same areas. So if you live more to the south, you got a lot less. More to the north, you may not gotten any, but we have a few more spots trying to come in. That'll be about the last of it before we finally get the clouds to slowly break up. And that should allow our temperatures to get up there close to 70 degrees later on today. Our high temperature trend does stay warm for 1 or 2 more days, but then cold air rushes in on Sunday, and we're going to have a very cold day of it come Monday and even on Tuesday. The rest of your forecast is coming up.
Thank you. Kentucky lawmakers hope to put millions of dollars into preventing teen vaping. They say they'd like to use the money from the state's general fund for that. For the last few years, Kentucky has received installments of money from the e-cigarette company Juul. That's part of a massive settlement from 2022. The state is set to get $14 million total through the settlement. $2 million is coming at the end of this year and another $6 million after that. Proposals in both the House and Senate would create what they are calling a vaping settlement trust fund. This fund would require Juul settlement payments be invested into several initiatives, including an education program explaining the risks of vaping to children.
It is extremely important that we get those vapes out of the hands of kids, and we have to invest in them and we have to protect them. And I think this is a bill that provides that protection.
The bill was passed in a Senate committee and is now heading to the Senate floor. Well, the time is up for candidates to pick up a petition and run for office. The deadline was at noon today, and the final day to withdraw paperwork is next week. Some of the county's most powerful political positions are up for grabs this year, including the sheriff's office. 4 Republican candidates have already announced their run for the seat. Veteran Knox County Chief of Detectives David Amburn, retired Drug Enforcement Agency agent Mike Davis, former Assistant KCSO Chief Deputy Brent Gibson, and former Sheriff of Knox County J.J. Jones. They'll all be on the ballot. So far, no Democratic candidates have entered the sheriff's race. We want to know what public safety issues matter the most to you ahead of the election for the Knox County Sheriff. You can just scan the QR code on your screen right there. It will take you directly to our WBIR survey. For the 4th time in the last year, the close-knit community in Claiborne County is mourning the death of a student. An 8-year-old girl was killed in what authorities say was an accidental shooting. Authorities declined to speak on camera, but say investigators with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations are helping them with the case. School officials say the child was a student at Clearfield Elementary School, where counselors are on hand to help other students this week. Leaders at the elementary school tell us there are only about 70 students enrolled in the school and that it's very tight-knit. They say other students are making cards in memory of their friend. Tonight, parents in Powell will voice their concerns about a new rezoning plan. The plan would move nearly 300 students from Powell Elementary to other schools in the area. School leaders say this would help with the school's limited capacity, traffic issues, and limited parking. But parents are pushing back, saying it breaks up the community and adds time to morning drop-off.
My initial reaction, like a lot of adults, was very confused, unbelievably frustrated, and just wondering, quite frankly, where's the leadership in all of this?
Now, school leaders say they haven't made any final decisions, and Knox County school leaders say they will hear parents' concerns at tonight's meeting. The meeting starts at 5:30 at the Powell High School auditorium. 10 News will have more coverage for you tonight at 11. Well, we want to turn back to your forecast now on this rainy Thursday with meteorologist Mike Simon. We are still seeing some warmer temps, but like you mentioned, that's going to drop heading into the weekend.
Yeah, temperatures are going to come down. I hope that people didn't put away their winter gear just yet, because you're going to need it again. I know, according to the calendar, it's still winter and it hasn't been feeling like that lately. 50% chance of some rain. That was mostly this morning, and we're noticing a few more raindrops, some scattered showers still pushing through, but they should be tapering off over the next couple of hours. And then we get somewhat of a break before more moves in close to midnight Friday night, and that'll last into Saturday. Sunday, it's tapering off, so we do have some good chances of rain if you missed out on some of that rain today, where most of it was right through the central part of East Tennessee. Here's the storm system trying to gear up that has been producing and helping this gloomy type soup that we have outside. Southwest winds bringing in the moisture, the clouds, and also the warmer temps right up ahead of that cold front that's approaching Memphis. This is 7 p.m. Thursday, and it shows you that we do have a little bit of clearing happening, and the rain is gone this evening, at least for now. As that cold front approaches, more moisture along it's going to start being condensed out, and we have more scattered showers possible late Friday going into, or late Thursday going into Friday morning. That moves on. We get a break much of Friday, but there's another low pressure that'll be developing right along that front back over Texas, and that's going to also give us another shot of rain as it moves close to us by Saturday. Cold air, you see it poised over the central part of the United States, is going to be spilling in this weekend. More rainfall possible over the next 5 days, about a half an inch to an inch is certainly plausible. I know some folks get more than that, already did today. So it remains breezy through Friday. Temperatures go way down. We're going to have lows in the 20s starting next week.
All right, Mike, thank you. After the loss of a star athlete, one community is turning heartbreak into a tribute. Coming up, the latest details on a project meant to honor a Tellico Plains student. That's a Monroe County community is turning heartbreak into a lasting tribute after the loss of star athlete Dara Wiseman. Plans were put in place to build a new track at Tellico Plains High School in her honor. The state committed $500,000 last April, and her family raised another $80,000 with hopes of bringing the project to life. But family members say they're concerned and the project appears to have stalled. Reporter Olivia Daig asked leaders in Monroe County where the track stands now.
Still reeling, yeah. We're still reeling with the loss.
The Wisemans want to turn their grief into hope.
It would be an honor for me to represent what her life was about.
Dara Wiseman died in a car crash in November of 2024, months before she was set to go to state. She was expected to add to her 6 state titles.
Early on I said, I'm going to build a track in her honor, and I don't care if I have to borrow the money to do it. I want to do it.
The goal is to give future athletes opportunities Dara didn't have in her hometown.
I don't believe anyone has ever been as successful in that program as Dara Wiseman.
Representative Mark Cochran secured $500,000 in state funding for the track.
We can provide a wonderful asset to the community and to the school, and we can do all of that in memory of Dara.
Monroe County Mayor Mitch Ingram says the money is sitting in an account and the school board has to decide the next step. School board member Dean Williams says $500,000 isn't enough for a full 8-lane track. Instead, he wants the best of the best, more than $1 million investment, something worthy of the track star's name and legacy. School board members haven't made a decision to move forward with funding the project.
And that's kind of our frustration, is the not knowing. Let's do the right thing and let's put the money where it should go.
For the Wisemans, the track isn't about the number of lanes. It's about running forward with Dara's legacy. In Monroe County, I'm Olivia Daig.
We checked with several members of the school board about the track, but we only heard back from Dean Williams with the 2nd District. He says the 3rd District, which includes Tellico Plains High School, should plan a work session to bring the item up to the school board.